After pouring 40,000 into a relationship with a twice-divorced mother of two, I went from thriving doctor to neglecting myself. "You're just a friend to my kids," she said, while demanding more. "Is it time to see the truth? I was financially abused by a narcissist. I recently ended my relationship with my girlfriend, and it has been about a month since the breakup. I would appreciate some external perspective on how to retrospectively evaluate the relationship. I have posted about this before. I am a 34-year-old male doctor earning $150,000 a year. I am single and own a large house. Initially, I was unable to drive but learned how to do so during the relationship, and I now own a 100,000 car. I do not go out very often, and I consider myself loyal and sensible. I come from a working-class background, but my family is very supportive and my parents are together. I have a large, loving family. My ex-girlfriend is twice divorced, is a single mother with two children, and earns between $35,000 and $50,000 a year. At the beginning of our relationship, she drove a very modest small car but upgraded to a Tesla during our time together, which likely cost around $30,000. She is originally from Ukraine. Her parents are divorced. She rarely sees her father, and her brother is a drug addict living in another country. She has a large circle of friends, some of whom come in and out of her life, alongside a few stable, wealthy friends who sometimes take her on vacations. We began dating 2 years ago. The chemistry we shared was incredible, both in conversation and sexually. We engaged in activities together and felt like soulmates while cooking, among other things. Throughout the entire relationship, I covered all expenses. I spent over $40,000 on things like dinners, drinks, activities, day trips, and 2 holidays abroad, each costing between $3,000 and $4,000. I also occasionally assisted her with car repairs. For her birthdays, I consistently spent 2 to 4 times the amount she spent on me. Every activity we did together with her children, such as visiting theme parks or watching fireworks, was organized and paid for by me. At times, she truly felt like a soulmate. The first year of our relationship was quite magical for me. The financial burden was challenging. Without the ability to drive initially, she would travel 55 minutes to visit me, staying at my place for 2 to 3 days, during which I paid for everything, including food, restaurants, and spa services. Unfortunately, everything unraveled in the last year of our relationship. I had to become more financially responsible for a few months due to a temporary 80% reduction in my earnings. This made me much more cautious with my spending, something she did not appreciate or recognize. However, I still paid for everything and even managed to cover 2 holidays despite these difficulties. During our first holiday together, she paid for absolutely nothing, even when I suggested she could at least buy a drink or cover a taxi fare to create a more balanced atmosphere. At that time, she claimed she could not afford it, but a few months later, she had acquired a new Tesla and had her hair and nails done regularly. Our breakup stemmed from her feelings that 1. I did not take responsibility. 2. She became very jealous after I passed my driving test in the last 6 months of our relationship. 3. I was not present enough in her life. 4. She stopped driving to see me. She also had many demands. For example, she insisted that I purchase a 500 coffee machine for my house, claiming it was the least I could do to make her comfortable. However, I always tried to ensure her comfort and eventually bought her the coffee machine. Additionally, I frequently bought her luxurious foods like lobster and smoked salmon, items I would not normally purchase for myself or that my friends typically consume. She eventually sought therapy, and her therapist concluded that she was an abuser in our relationship and exhibited narcissistic traits. When she informed me of this, she acknowledged that I could be causing her pain, yet she stated that breaking up with me wouldn't help her, showing little concern for the effects on me. During our relationship, I started to neglect my physical and mental well-being. I went from being a well-groomed doctor with a six-pack to someone who dressed like a depressed, older man. My family grew increasingly worried. I began wearing trainers, mismatched socks, and random clothing while abandoning my fitness routine. Financially, I stopped purchasing or enjoying nice foods from Monday to Wednesday, knowing she would come over on Wednesdays or Thursdays and stay until Saturday. I thought it was wiser to save money for those days. There were many beautiful moments with her, at the beach, at the water park, and being intimate, but I reflect on these experiences and feel that I should not cherish them too warmly. Instead, I should recognize them for what they were: financial abuse and affection rooted in materialistic desire. Should I perceive it differently? I am acutely aware that her therapist was likely correct. I may have been a victim of emotional abuse by a narcissist. I regret not realizing it during the relationship and am still surprised she confessed to being the abuser and a narcissist while I responded with compassion rather than considering my own well-being. There were many instances of behavior that felt demeaning to me. As a high-earning, qualified doctor, she would say things like, 1. I needed to earn more money to support a family and should feel pressured to do so. 2. She belittled my interactions with her children, dismissing it as they must see you as a friend, despite my strong rapport with kids. 3. She expressed discomfort about my car, a Mercedes S-Class, showing jealousy toward it. This was highlighted in a conversation recently when she recalled that I had said I would never drive my beautiful car into the city, something I had never said. 4. She insisted that her happiness should be prioritized, which included buying her things. 5. She often compared our lifestyle to others, mentioning her ex or friends with partners who provided for them. 6. After I learned to drive, she would belittle my progress, urging me to drive to various places even when I was still gaining confidence. 7. Whenever I accomplished something, she would compare it to more extravagant alternatives. For example, after I spent $3,000 on a holiday in Greece, she expressed a desire to visit France instead. 8. Nothing in my house was ever satisfactory for her, despite it being significantly larger and more valuable than her own modest home. She constantly complained about things that, to me, seemed ample and comfortable. 9. She would lie about how often I saw her children, claiming it was just once every 6 months, despite the fact that I purchased them birthday and Christmas presents, allowed them to stay at my house, organized activities, and spent quality time with them. Throughout our relationship, she relentlessly critiqued various aspects of my character, while I never criticized her or demanded anything in return. A major reality check for me was when she booked a holiday with a friend without informing me. When I expressed feeling it was unfair, given that she could have contributed financially to our shared trips, she told me she made the plans because I had not said anything about it, and claimed my response should have been to be happy for her while providing her with spending money and suggesting that I book a holiday for both of us next month. This event coincided with my grandfather becoming seriously ill. The week following her trip with her friend, she went out dancing in my city. She texted me to let me know she was in the area, but she did not visit my house even though I was with my grandfather during his final hours. He passed away at 1:30 a.m. She then texted me, upset that I did not pay for her taxi from the city to my house, stating that was the only way she would come see me under such circumstances. When I informed her via text about my grandfather's death, her response was simply, "I am sorry for your loss. I send my condolences to your family," without a call or inquiry about my feelings, a generic message typical of a work colleague. The following day, she did not reach out, and I had to initiate contact to address the situation. This was when I realized she would not be there for me as I would have been for her. After the breakup, I spoke to her, and she suggested that I needed to accept myself for who I am, someone who does not want to take responsibility. She refused to meet me in person to discuss our separation, which felt degrading considering my financial commitment and my efforts to take on a woman with 2 children despite my own circumstances. I confessed that I genuinely loved her, and since my relationship experience is limited, I developed strong feelings for her. However, everyone around me insists she was a narcissist and a user, urging me to view her through a realistic lens rather than through my misguided affections. Any insights or reality checks? My family is concerned I may eventually return to her or keep the door open for a reconciliation. My father revealed he found a bag of toys I had bought her children for Christmas last December. Upon discovering this, he went home and cried, fearing I was ruining my life by dating a single mother and taking on 2 children when I had always been the pride of our family, maintaining a successful career. He expressed that, as a father, this situation deeply troubled him for months, but that he refrained from sharing his concerns because he knew of my loyalty and dedication to her. Is this something I need to firmly close off and only consider from a brutally realistic perspective rather than with affection? Should I simply discard her belongings if she refuses to pick them up? I have relied on my emotions for the last 2 years, but I am starting to realize this has been misguided. As I type this, I become more aware of how naive I have been. Should I reassess the relationship and my perception of her? If so, how do you think I should redefine her character? This representation of the relationship is completely accurate. I have included only verifiable facts. The reason I mention financial details and the sums involved is that they were significant, and the activities I arranged with the children were substantial as well. Story 2. Feeling invisible at my boyfriend's family gatherings has become unbearable. Mill neglects me for her perfect son, never showing real interest in my life. After a painful Mother's Day, I dread confrontation but am torn, will talking to her help or make it worse? A bit of context, I am a foreigner living in my boyfriend's country. I have been residing here for over 5 years and we both speak the same language. We met 2 years ago and have been dating since then. He is the partner I always wished to be with if I ever had one. I feel we are absolutely perfect for each other and I love him dearly. His family is well-educated, cordial, and polite for the most part. The first time I met his parents was at an informal, small concert. After the concert, his dad, with whom I relate the most, talked to me a lot more and we shared some stories. However, his mom refused to make eye contact with me, did not ask me anything about myself, and only engaged in conversation with the person next to her the entire time. It left me with an odd first impression, as I have always gotten along very well with my ex-partner's parents, even my ex-mother-in-law. I found her behavior to be somewhat rude and strange, but I chose to ignore it. Then everything began to make sense. The more time I spent with them, the more I understood that my boyfriend's mother is what you would refer to as a boy mom. She has not taught her two sons to do anything by themselves, doing everything for them, instead cleaning, cooking, paying for things, and even scheduling medical appointments. She takes pride in this. She never allows my boyfriend to pay for anything, even when he wants to do so on his own. I also feel that my boyfriend is her favorite topic of conversation, which makes him uncomfortable. At first, I did not mind this, but it became exhausting every single time I visited them because the conversation could unfold in one of these ways. 1. I mentioned something about myself, such as an experience or an achievement, and my mother-in-law always interrupts to one-up me with something my boyfriend has accomplished. 2. I indicate that I am teaching my boyfriend something. For instance, I am teaching him Russian, I taught him how to paint, etc. And instead of acknowledging this about me, she has literally said once, "You have always been such a good student. Good for you." Essentially praising him for learning from me but not recognizing my skills. 3. I make a lighthearted joke about my boyfriend, how he snores, how he is not very organized, something minor, and she responds, "What, my perfect son? I have never heard him snore. He has become more organized over time." It seems he can never have anything wrong or flawed. Any negative comments are immediately dismissed. I feel that between this dynamic and the fact that I have not been asked anything about myself, despite it being 2 years already, I am going insane. For the past couple of months, I have felt diminished and invisible. Despite having much to share, such as my journey coming here from my developing country, all the struggles I have endured, the fact that I speak 4 languages, and my skills in art and music, I feel as though she simply does not care if it does not pertain to her son. This hurts me for 2 reasons. 1. My ex-in-laws were absolutely wonderful to me even until the very end, and the contrast is striking. 2. I live on a different continent from my parents. My boyfriend has never met them and likely will not be able to for a long time due to the president, a semi-dictator, essentially landlocking them, and the political issues in the country preventing me from seeing them. I feel all of this profoundly affects me, primarily because of reason number 2. I feel exceedingly excluded when I am around them, as though my worth as a person is invisible. My boyfriend has always attempted to include me, but his mother always manages to change the topic and redirect the conversation back to him, his brother, or herself. They are nice to me in that they are polite and ask about my week or my day, but it does not go beyond that. My father-in-law does ask me more, but only when my mother-in-law is not present to interrupt, unfortunately. If she is there, then you know the conversation will veer in another direction. I am starting to resent her and have begun attending fewer of the outings to which she has invited me. My boyfriend and I now live together not far from them. They are also very traditional and hold many family gatherings frequently. I have stopped attending most because I feel even lonelier than I already do while living abroad. A few days ago, I felt forced to attend a Mother's Day gathering. My mother-in-law texted me, instructing me not to make any plans for May 4, as she wanted to celebrate the day with the family. Since she knows my mother does not live here, she assumed I would attend regardless. I absolutely did not want to go, but I felt I had no excuse, did not think fast enough, and thought saying, "I would prefer to stay alone today," would come off as too aggressive. I also have a tendency to avoid confrontation. I had a terrible day as usual and felt like crying afterward. The conversation consisted mainly of my boyfriend, his job, and then their jobs. They are lawyers, using specialized legal terminology I do not understand at all, making it impossible for me to contribute anything. My boyfriend understands how I feel and has said he wants to have a calm discussion with his mother to explain how I feel in order to find a resolution for this situation. I am a bit apprehensive about this because my mother-in-law lacks self-awareness and emotional maturity. I feel she will respond in a passive-aggressive manner toward both of us and give us the cold shoulder, as she typically does when she is upset. My boyfriend believes that sometimes conflict is necessary to shake things up and change dynamics. I dislike confrontation and am grateful that he is willing to do this for me, but I am a bit scared about the whole situation. Do you think this is a good idea, or should I stick to my original plan of avoiding the events? TLDR, I have been living in my boyfriend's country for over 5 years and we have been together for 2 years. Despite being polite, his mother has consistently made me feel invisible. She rarely shows interest in me, continually redirects conversations to her son, and diminishes my presence. It has been especially challenging since I am far from my own family due to political reasons and used to have very warm relationships with my ex-in-laws. I have begun avoiding family gatherings because they make me feel worse. After a difficult Mother's Day event, my boyfriend offered to speak with his mother about how I feel. I appreciate his willingness, but I am anxious about her likely passive-aggressive reaction and uncertain if it would be better to have that conversation or maintain my distance.